Just me and my guard cat out here. Hey, Miss Kitty. What you doing, man? Yeah. What? Just hanging on the porch. She's smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, and all I want are my whiskers rubbed. See? Welcome back to the channel. I'm setting up right now to deal with the bottom row of buckets, the PVC, and I've got this place cleaned out. I'm gonna cut a hole in the floor, trying to figure out my drain valve for the bottom row. So here we go. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a 3/4 inch bit and drill from the inside out so my clean edge is on the inside. And then I'm going to adjust, this is for the float valve, and then I'm going to adjust the size with these step bits if I need to. Okay, I've placed the washer on the inside, the little rubber washer, and I've tightened it up. Not too tight, you don't want to break it, it's plastic. And then I've marked out, well, I've put my 90 degree on that, or on that end. And now I've marked out my little service channel to access the float. I've marked center on that, and I've also marked center on this. So when I push it in and the float will be invisible, I'll be able to line it up. So that way when I cut it, I'll be on the top. Okay, I've drawn my little opening for servicing and getting to adjust the valve, and I'm going to cut it out with a jigsaw. Short blade, by the way. You don't want to hit your float valve. My little access hole is opened up. Now I'm going to cut a little cover for it. Here's how I made my little cover. What I do is I take the end of one of these pieces that's unused or scrapped, and I cut the appropriate length off of the expanded side that fits over another pipe. And I round the corners and I mark it so it's a little bit over halfway around. And so now what it does, the end cap's a little wider, and so is this piece here, and it just simply snaps over it and stays. Nice little cover. Well, I'm getting there. I'm putting my furring strips on. I've completed the pipe work, and I guess it's not really a closed loop system, but it's a big loop feeding from one side. And it's getting pretty doggone hot in here. It's 90 degrees. Working it. All right. Onward and sideways. This is the drain coming out of the floor, although I need a 45 or a 90 on it. I just didn't have one in that size pipe. So I'll get one, but for right now it'll work. Well, my wife Sonny is working on net cups, and I just finished drilling all the holes and flushing the system out with fresh water, and now I'm filling it with the float valve. And I'm gonna go drag, I built a little shelf here for doodads. So I'm gonna go get my vacuum and clean this mess up, and we should be ready to put some buckets in here shortly. I'm filling with the float valve. Got all my plumbing in, tied in, and vacuumed and cleaned, and just setting the float for the depth, and everything looks pretty level actually, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I guess next Sonny's doing the buckets outside, mixing some soil and doing net cups and whatnot. I'm catching up on it. Big old 12-hour day for me right now. I'll get some room in here. What I'm doing now is just pre-watering my buckets from the top a little bit, give them a head start, get the bags wet and everything. And that way, like I said, just give them a little head start. Doesn't have to suck it all up from the rain gutter system. Let them sit out here and drip dry for a second. Let the buckets dry out a little. And then back at it. I've gotten a little sidetracked here from the garden. I'm beefing up the structure just a little bit. These 4x4 posts made out of pressure treated material, or they've been pressure treated on the material. They tend to warp in the sun, and it doesn't take very long. And these posts started warping, and my roof started separating here because there was no, and I just really never finished this. So I went and put a cargo strap on it, pulled them together, got my roof back together, raised it back up. As I pulled in, the roof went up, and nailed it off and put some screws in, some little decorative corbels on there. And now I'm gonna probably sheet the inside of it with some cedar. Just to, right now I'm deciding whether or not I want to put a little shed roof over it. I've got the material, but then I've got to get a rain gutter, so I probably won't. All right, well, it's wasp season. As you can see, they're getting into the greenhouse. So I'm stapling some screen onto my, sidetracked once again, onto my windows. Hopefully this will work. I ran out before I could do the ends, but at least I got a start on it. Well, Sonny finished up the little net cups and got all the buckets in here. Tomorrow she'll fill them. I wetted all these down, so they should be ready to go. Stuff's popping up. A few plants are popping now, so we'll kind of play it by ear on that. And as usual, I sidetracked myself again by building a little storage bench. And as fate would have it, I'm building the bench part now, and my plug has had it. So I got to rebuild the plug to keep working. All right, this little storage box is cutting into my Corona time, so that's it. I'm done. I was going to put hinges on it, but actually it's better if I just, you can lay it up here like that and get it out of the way if you need to and whatnot. So there's a place for stuff. Trying to organize, and I still need to leave some room here for my solar equipment, battery and inverter and all that crap. So I guess it's time to turn the water back on and check out the depths, make sure they're correct. Say bye, Sonny. Well, it didn't take long for the new box to get populated with Sonny around. She's all about getting it cleaned up. That's a good thing for me, for sure. So right now I've just opened the water and I'm refilling the tubes now that they've all got net cups in them. I had to drain some water out because I didn't want the displacement of the net cup to overflow everything. So I shut the water off, dumped it. Not all of it, but a little bit of it. And now it's refilling with rainwater, and I'm just going to be checking the levels before I go to bed. When I first put in that garden, if any of you were watching my earlier videos, you know I went to bed and adjusted the float valve in the wrong direction. And I had a flood out here the next morning, and about half of my IBC was gone, 150 gallons or so. Anyway, just I guess I'll probably end this video here. You get to see my hot, sweaty nightmare face today because I've been out here in the sun working. But that's it for this video. Please subscribe, like, all that. Stay tuned for the next one. Not sure what we're gonna have for the next video. It might be a Guyana video. I might trek down to South America. to go do some surveying for a underwater water turbine. All right, take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.